Do you like cheap stuff? Do you like the Black Series? Then this video is for you! What's up, everybody? My name is Matt, often called Big Nerdy. Together we are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. That's right, my friends, we are once again talking cheap action figures, and this time we're talking cheap Star Wars Black Series. You know, I guess you could say that I'm helping feed your plastic crack addiction on a budget though, because that's like, responsible adulting. Before we get to the official top 10, here are some honorable mentions that have to be talked about. Right now, there's a few figures that are hovering in that $17 to $18 mark. Here are the best ones of them. The Knight of Ren, Wedge Antilles, Han Solo Bespin, Leia on Hoth, and of course, Asa Jar Jar Binks. I call these honorable mentions because they don't exactly qualify as cheap per se, but they're under retail and they're mostly from older waves that aren't necessarily available on the pegs right now. I have one final honorable mention, and that's the Emfrey's Nest Swoop Bike Vehicle. Emfrey's Nest? Empty's Nest? Empty's? Empty Nest? Empty Nest. This thing's going for just $32.99 right now. It originally retailed back for $59.99, so it's definitely a lot of bang for your buck in terms of plastic crack per dollar. Do you think there's a plastic crack to dollar exchange rate? We need to work on that. Coming in at number 10 is the ATK Driver at just $15.29. This isn't quite what you call an army builder per se, but it's certainly cool to have a couple of these on hand for a Hoth display. If I'm not mistaken, these have come out a couple different times and they've come out in a couple of different packaging. They came out first with the Last Jedi figure, so of course they went to figure purgatory, and they didn't sell well. So they came out again, and probably again after that. This is our first Imperial troop item on this list, and you gotta ask yourself a couple questions. 1, will it be the last? 3, they don't usually go cheap. And 2, wait, what about 2? Oh, Big Nerdy going crazy. I find it interesting that there is an Imperial troop builder on the list because you usually don't see them on a cheap list, and those usually go up in value pretty quick, so jump on this. Not to mention, he was on my most underrated Black Series of all time video that I made a couple years back, and I still would say he's one of the most underrated Black Series. And now, also one of the cheapest. Coming in at number 9 is the Archive Edition Grand Admiral Thrawn. This sucker's going for $14.99. As a 90s Star Wars fan, this was one of my most anticipated releases ever. I am a huge fan of the Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn. Let's face it, that should have been the sequel trilogy, right? Like, that seemed like a no-brainer, but no, we gotta go different. Hasbro did a great job with this figure. I love the Grand Admiral's uniform. The face looks great. I love the red eyes, and I love the blue skin. As far as figure accessories go, it's kind of basic, but hey, it's Grand Admiral Thrawn, folks. This is the third time Thrawn has been released. The first time was part of an SDCC exclusive that's going for buku bucks now, and the second time was as a part of the Red Wave, and it was just a regular figure, but that one jumped in price really quickly. I do wonder if Thrawn shows up on a TV show anytime soon. Disney Plus, looking at you. This figure is not going to be cheap anymore. It's going to be the opposite of cheap. It's going to be on the expensive video. Also, dark confession, when I was reading Heir to the Empire back in the 90s and I was picturing what these characters look like in my head, I had a fantasy casting for Grand Admiral Thrawn that kind of embarrasses me now. It was Steven Seagal. Coming in at number 8 is the TIE Fighter pilot from the Empire Strikes Back 40th Anniversary Wave, and it's going for just $13.99. This is a must-have figure for any type of person who collects Imperial troops, and I said it earlier with the Snowtrooper guy. Holy crap, we got 2 awesome Imperial troop builder-ish figures on this list, and they're cheap. Again, he's still not quite an army builder, but you gotta have 2 so Vader can be like, go get in your TIE Fighter and let's go fight these guys up over Yavin, and you won't die, I promise. Spoiler alert, they die. And man, did they miss the boat on not releasing this figure with the OG TIE Fighter instead of the First Order version? That's what we call a miss in the biz. If I haven't sold you on this figure yet, it is also a great figure for MOC collectors because it comes in that awesome vintage style Empire Strikes Back packaging, and yeah, hit you in the feels, folks. Fun fact, if you account for all the variants of this figure, it has now been released a grand total of 4 times, so woo! Coming in at number 7 is Quill for just $12.99. This character quickly warmed our hearts during the early seasons of The Mandalorian before he was unceremoniously no longer on the show. Spoiler alert! Now, he has been a recent peg warmer in a lot of Walmarts and Targets pretty much everywhere, along with Griff Karga, who keeps him company. But listen, if you held out, this is a great price to finally go get this awesome character. It's funny, whenever new Star Wars toys are announced, there's always people all over every forum being like, Hasbro never listens to us. Why won't they do more random aliens? Instead, we get more troopers. and more Mandalorians. I don't need any more Boba Fett. But then when they do release an alien, you don't buy them. You see how that works? Bottom line, this is a great deal.
I have spoken.
Coming in at number 6 is Admiral Ackbar for just $12.99. It's a trap! No, it's really not a trap. He really is just $12.99. This is really an amazing figure. It took way too long for them to release this major character from the original trilogy. Now, we did get him from his Last Jedi appearance, but let's face it, we want to forget that both that figure exists and that movie exists, for the most part. Ackbar had a great head sculpt, and he came in what might be one of the best Waves of Black series, maybe ever? Think about it. You had Snowspeeder Luke, you had Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader, you had a new Stormtrooper, a Kamino clone, Tebow, and a Beskar Mandalorian? Holy crap, this wave had a little something for everyone. It was amazing. If you are a Mint Box collector, the Return of the Jedi box art mural in its green color thing looks awesome, and it's one of my favorite murals of all of the Galaxy collection of figures. Seriously, to pass up on this for this price would be a huge mistake.
To pass them up is a big mistakey, yeah! Big mistakey.
Coming in at number 5 is Dryden Vos, going for just $10.95. Honestly, this is a very solid figure with some cool and unique weapons for a Star Wars figure at least. With the upcoming Disney Plus Lando series, the Obi-Wan series, the Cassian Andor series, all of these new series are coming, and they're from right about the same time period of this character, so we might see Dryden Vos show up again. So if that happens, expect this figure to suddenly go like stupid crazy again. Yeah, I realized it didn't go crazy the first time, it's going crazy this time. I don't know about you, but I would not mind getting more Paul Bettany in my Star Wars shows. But not as vision as Dryden Vos. Come to think of it, a few of these cheap figures are based around some really great actors who had a very brief part in the Star Wars universe. Is that a trend? I don't know. Coming in at number 4 is Val for just $9.49. I gotta give credit to Hasbro here. The likeness to Thandie Newton is really good. And I'll also say that she's one of the better characters and best portrayed characters in the Solo movie. I mean, honestly, it's a shame she wasn't in the movie more. That's kind of a spoiler. No, not really a spoiler alert. This figure died a slow death, though. It has shown up at discount stores across the nation, and they can't give this thing away. But it is a pretty cool looking figure, so for cheap, why not get some extra fodder? You could probably find it even cheaper than this if you look hard enough. Coming in at number 3 is Lando Calrissian. Which Lando, you ask? Well, technically it's young Lando, but you got other options that are also pretty cheap. So young Lando's going for just $9.45. This is, of course, part of the Solo movie wave that came out back in the Redbox collection, and frankly, all of those figures are mostly pretty cheap. But you can also get the Empire Strikes Back Lando for just $14.25, and if you want to pay a little bit more, you can get the fantastic hidden gem underrated General Lando Calrissian that came out a few months back for just $14.99. Now you can thank Hasbro for these Lando prices, because one of the unwritten rules at Hasbro is, what's that? You got a new set going out? Make sure there's 2 Landos in every case. Like I said a few minutes ago, we have a Lando series that is scheduled to hit Disney Plus sometime in the coming year or years, I don't know. We will see Donald Glover in Star Wars again. It might not be a bad idea to grab young Lando while he's super cheap so you have him. And don't get me started on General Lando. That is seriously the best Lando Calrissian we've gotten in this line, period. And we've gotten a couple other really good ones. Looking at you, Skiffguard Lando. And he's very much worth the $15 considering how recent of a figure it is. Coming in at number 2 is Zoe Bliss for just $9.40. Now, if for some reason you struck this from your memory, Zoe Bliss is actually Felicity. She was part of the whole Rise of Skywalker movie wave, the second wave to be exact, and she did not sell. In fact, I have 2 of her left in stock at my store that I'll probably have in stock the day I die. And while I'd like to think this is an urban legend, right around Christmas time, this was found on the GameStop website for just a penny. I wonder if they actually sold all of them. You might have to actually pay people to take her. Now, this figure suffers from being a pretty boring character and a pretty boring character design. If you're gonna pay to have Felicity in your movie, wouldn't you want, like, you know, her likeness? Give her something better than being what's-his-face's ex? Oh my god, I blocked out the movie so much I forget Oscar Isaac's character name. Whew. That's probably a good thing. Despite the fact that I absolutely hate Rise of Skywalker, I wouldn't have hated it if we would have gotten a 3rd wave of Rise of Skywalker figures, if it would have included a, like, undead Palpatine, a Force Ghost Luke, and some other Knights of Ren. Maybe a Ben Solo, maybe a young Jedi Leia. Yeah, that would have been okay with me. But instead, no. We got Zoe Bliss and Jaina. What's the cheapest one, ladies and gentlemen? What is the winner, or what is the loser? Well, let's find out. Coming in at number 1 is Jyn Erso for just $5.66. Now, this is the original Jyn Erso and not the new one that just came out with an updated face scan, and this one's face looks generic AF. In all reality, even for $5, I would not waste my money on this when there is a new version out that is a updated face scan and it completely updates the exact same setup and design. So no, don't need it. If you're excited to pick any of these figures up at deep discount, don't wait because cheap prices don't last forever. Don't believe me? Check out this playlist here of cheap figure videos I did in the past. Then when you're done, go to Amazon and see what they're going for now. Then maybe come back and thank me later because you didn't miss out. And remember, you gotta get old, but you don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later.